We're going to talk about this new tax bill, the crypto tax bill that was just introduced. Also, is gold the new standard? And Brad Garlinghouse speaks out about trust, and it all starts right now. Chip here with the XRP Minute, and we're back at our regular, well, I wouldn't say regular time, but the 10 o'clock time slot. I was moving to 8 o'clock, trying to do the 8 o'clock thing. Tonight I had a little bit of a conflict, so I had to go later, and I was like half falling asleep, but I'm ready now, and I'm here. So I always like to shout out the first person that comes into the chat, and that is Danny Torres today. Thank you, Danny. She's number one. She says she made it. Happy to have you here. Zbits33. OJ Punk, comedian Carl Lewis is here. Big John with the big sup, give me a sup. Dansky, hey Chip, when volcano blow. Tina Hall is in the house too. We have Alex Yeet. Tina Hall, who else did I go? Bubba Shipes, what did I see Bubba? Bubba took a Flexerol, so he said he may drop out from time to time. We don't want that to happen. We may give him a little nudge here and there, just kind of wake him up again and see how he's doing. That's a muscle relaxer, if I'm not mistaken. Who else do we have in here? I'm scrolling. Oh, gee, XRP, where have you been, my man? Feels like I haven't seen you in forever. Where have you been? I haven't seen your streams either, man. I know you've been working on some film, so I want to, put in the chat what you've been up to. Cryptic Life is here. Hey, Cryptic Life, thank you for that nice tweet you put out there. I always appreciate that. Thank you for popping in. Who else do we have here? I almost called out my own name. That's kind of weird, right? And Dansky, Matt Richter's here. And, my scroll's going really weird. Allie G from Down Under. Hey, Allie, what's going on? Glad you can make it today. Today, I would say tomorrow you're in the future, and we're communicating with somebody in the future, which I always wanted to do when I was a kid. It just turns out it's a few hours because you're already into Friday. Friday. Who doesn't love Friday, right? Fridays are always good. So let's get to it. We got a lot to cover tonight. We got XRP Dude. He's like, good evening. Usually I would expect something like a dude. XRP Dude should be like, dude. But XRP Dude's chill. He's like very proper. He's like, good evening. Good evening. Very nice and proper. I like that. That's very, very well done. Let's jump into it. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Wow, I need a glass of water already. It's actually a jar of water, right? So let's get into it. Let's go and let's see what we have. So I wanted to get into this right off the bat. This is what we talked about a little bit earlier. This is Brad Garlinghouse talking about trust. We talk a lot about privacy and this when we're together. We talk about privacy and what's going on with our privacy. Not that we really have any, but if we're going to be on social, we're always looking for new ways to protect our privacy. So it was just today, I would say really early today because it was in the UK, but Brad Garlinghouse talked to Yahoo UK. Wow, I would say that 4 times fast. He basically he said, whatever you think about Facebook on the trust vector, they've let the public down. Exactly. He's actually right. So, was the timing of Libra after they've just been hammered for trust, right? And privacy. And I have another story too that kind of plays into this. We'll get into it a little bit later. But again, it's more of Facebook doing the same. You see a lot of the same patterns repeating. They go in front of like the Congress and they're like, not us. No, we're good. No. We don't want anything to do with our users. We're playing everything above board. They put on the good hat, put on the good schoolboy uniform. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. All this kind of stuff. And then they go back to doing their own thing. So Garlinghouse basically said they've let the public down. I think this creates some headwinds, and you've seen this manifest itself in the regulatory engagement. The company said the cryptocurrency will be decentralized and administered by the Libra Association. This is what I love. They said it'll be monitored by this Swiss-based nonprofit. And the Swiss-based nonprofit's like, we're still waiting on a phone call. We haven't heard from you guys. They're still waiting, right? They're like, Yeah, they're like hitting their fingers out. They've never heard from them. Like 2 weeks later, nothing. So I guess it's a plan, right? They go, I guess when they figure it out, but you think they would have at least made a phone call like, hello? Yeah, we need you guys to regulate us. Yeah, we're going to be based in Switzerland. And that's right. But you think they might do something like that? What else did Garlinghouse say? So Garlinghouse said that Facebook underestimated the reaction, and he said the timing was likely a factor in the backlash. It's a bit like Boeing. If you guys know what happened with Boeing, they basically had some software failures that caused two plane crashes. They have its own problems going on right now, announcing in the middle of the 737 MAX crisis, we're going to build a new double-decker airplane, and we're going to do it right now, right? Timing is not so great for that. Garlinghouse said, why would you do that? With Facebook, in light of other things going on at the moment, I think it's interesting that they went full Monty on this one. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. They put it out there, but I think this white paper from the beginning was just to see how the public would go. I mean, they had to imagine there would be some backlash. I mean, the good news is it really jump-started all those people that and banks that Ripple had been speaking with. They were like, yeah, we'll call you. And so all of a sudden, before you know it, they're busier than they've ever been because they're getting the callbacks, and we got to jump on this. They had the MoneyGram signing. That's jumping out there. And wait a second. Hang on a second. I've got a call here from... Yes, sir. You are on.
You have me blocked under St. Jude's Kids. Unblock me.
Sure. Are you not? Are you blocked on this chat?
Yeah.
All right. So we have... How are you blocked on the chat? You can't get into these streams.
I'm using my cell phone and I have a different account, so it's under Jane.
Okay. Don't give your name. Don't give your name. I just want to say I have you on the show right now. I answered the call because we're live, so I don't want you to give any names.
Oh, you're live. Hi.
Yeah, you're on right now. I don't want to show the... You're on the show. You're on.
I feel like a celebrity.
You are a celebrity, but tell everybody who you are so that they know. They don't connect the voice.
It's CKJ.
No, it's wrong.
And,
You're wrong. You are wrong, man. Why you gotta play like that?
It's AKA Anthony Jackson.
Anthony Jackson is on the line right now. Surprise guest. I didn't even know about the surprise guest, but he's here. He's live. He's calling me. He's hitting me up. But so what's the issue? You can't get in the chat because somebody blocked you?
Yeah, Rain. He's being stubborn.
Rain, did you block him? Did you block AJ? Rain, if you blocked him, you got to unblock him. Are you being serious, man?
But it's not under Anthony Jackson. It's under St. Jude Kid Says.
Oh yeah, well, we can't have that in the chat. Just go. Can you just go under your normal one?
Not for myself because I'm not at home. But I wanted to tune in when I'm out at I'm out having drinks, and I wanted to get drunk while I'm watching your stream.
All right. And I love that. That's that telltale sign you're talking to a Canadian when they say out and about on a boat. I'm out and about drinking beers. Out, right? That's the giveaway, man. Out and about, right? AJ,
right,
I don't know.
I'll try to connect on the other one, and then
yeah, man.
Then I'll just watch it later. Thanks,
yeah.
Chippy.
Well, listen, you're on the show, man. So you made it, man. So that's the good news. We'll have to have you back on. Full screen maybe, full Monty. I just
and hit the likes and sub. I want to get Chip to 1,000.
Yes. All right. Nice. Thank you, AJ. Appreciate it.
All right.
Cheers,
care.
man.
Bye.
Cheers. See you. Bye. Okay, that was Anthony Jackson calling in. I saw my, he said, yeah, okay, so, I understand why. Yeah, well, we can't have weird stuff in there. So, I mean, if you're watching the replay, we can't have weird stuff. We don't want to put anything down. I know he's being funny, but, I see what Rain's doing there, so that's fine. What's up, XRP Connie Angel? How are you? I didn't even see, I didn't see Rain pop in here, but maybe he's popped in here. I don't see him in the chat, but he could be in the chat. So let's get back to the Brad Garlinghouse. He basically said, Facebook's been in the crosshairs of global regulators and politicians over handling of data and lack of transparency. Now, this is the writer of the article. At the end of the day, as I understand it, they're going to put deposits in an account, Garlinghouse said. Whoever controls that account controls Libra. You can't call it decentralized. Somebody's going to have a name on that account. And they've already recruited, I think you had to pay $10 million to run the nodes, right? I think they had 30 participants. They were trying to get to 100, right? And they're big corporations that are joining in, corporations you know and love. He said, in contrast, you can fork Bitcoin and you can fork the XRP ledger. Now, if you fork Libra, whoever controls where the deposits flow controls Libra, and he's right on and spot on about this. So I love every time Garlinghouse talks about this. He basically goes on to say that at the end of the day, it was a very big positive event for Ripple, just because Ripple was started hearing from everybody and anybody. They're all like, the phones are ringing, they can't get to them fast enough. And, we've heard since that they just been off and running. So a lot of things jump-started that. And this is what we have to get excited about. Yeah, okay, the price, it didn't move. It dropped a little bit. Hey, that's up to you if you want to fill your bags. If you have weak hands and you want to sell, I'm okay with that too. But what I do see here is that there's a lot of good stuff happening, right? It's mounting. What about MoneyGram? And if you look at MoneyGram, Sam I Am to the Lifeboats did an amazing video on this where he really tied together David Schwartz and what he had said previously about how the banks could leverage third parties such as MoneyGram. And the CEO of MoneyGram basically and the earnings report said, hey, Q3 is going to be decent, but we're getting excited for Q4. And what do we always see right around? What kind of bull runs have we seen? Remember 2017, right? And I don't do the price prediction thing, but we have seen, it's weird how it ties in with the end of the year, right? November, December, January, somewhere around that. Sometimes we get some big news, but I wanted to pop in there and I wanted to just talk a little bit about this. Now, some other XRP news here. We have, let's go jump into this. What's going on with my mouse? My mouse is getting all kind of weird. Oh boy, I'm getting a little bit of stuttered. Here we go. So Ripple-MoneyGram, you gotta love these articles, right? This one is AMB Crypto. Sometimes it's not that I'm not really necessarily ganging up on this particular, publication, but when I see these kind of headlines, it makes me a little bit laugh a little bit, because it's almost like, we keep churning out these articles about XRP, Ripple, right? So here we go. Ripple-MoneyGram partnership stands out as Mexico witnesses rising XRP liquidity. Now, this is written in such a fashion that they almost can't believe that it's actually happening, right? Like they're writing about it, but they don't know. So Bitso, Mexico's first licensed crypto exchange, reportedly displayed a sudden spike in XRP's liquidity, with the XRP/MXN as the dominant trading pair. This information was brought to light by @Tenoshi on Twitter. Since the partnership with MoneyGram, the XRP market in Bitso, Mexico, has been steadily growing. Oh, shocker. Really? I wonder why. Did they not think this was going to happen? I mean, they write these kind of articles as almost as like, shock and awe. It actually happened? Of course it happened. So implies that the increase in XRapid payment volume will also attract more market makers to the market and let them buy XRP. Right now, our favorite stablecoin. It will not be our favorite stablecoin forever. So anyway, I'm not going to get too much into this. I did link it down below if you want to jump into that. Probably don't have time to get to everything I have tonight, but sometimes I find an interesting article and maybe you pop back in and read it and then give me your ideas about it, because otherwise I'd be doing a digital nomad investor 4-hour stream, and I'm not as talented as he is. I can't talk that long. I talk for 4 minutes and then I need a glass of water. So that's a little bit sort of a different there. I want to jump back over here. Let's see. Chip has cottonmouth. I do have cottonmouth. Oh my God, he's calling me on it. Look at that. Bubba, you're right. You're right, I do have cottonmouth. I don't know why. Tina Hall says, Bubba Chip is almost a cotton head. All right, there we go. So we have, Bob Moneybags is in here. What's up, Bob? Hey, I did a cool little tweet the other day. I really wanted to recognize Bob Moneybags because he raises money. He's a hero. He does stuff that nobody else is going to do. He does it for the community. He takes the blows, takes the punches on the chin. He raises money. And you know what? I think that deserves to be recognized. I did a tweet about that the other day, put a little graphic out there, thank you, Bob, for everything you do for this community. And what is going on with the Cottonmouth today? What is up? You know why I didn't have any whiskey yet? That could be part of it. Whiskey has a way of killing that Cottonmouth. But now I'm all wondering about it since Bubba Shipes is all over me. But I didn't take a Flexerol, so that's the good news tonight. But I wanted to say, Jungle Link, what's up? It'll stay stable. It will not remain my favorite forever. Right on, because you're going to get rid of it, right? And Jeff is here from the HODL Review. And look at that, XRP, Connie got it right. It's going to take me a while. I still want to say XRP or the HODL report. Now then I want to say the retort. Maybe we should have the HODL retort, the HODL review. We switch off. And hey, Anthony Jackson is in here. All right. And if you saw that, AJ was on the phone a little bit 2 minutes ago. He didn't know he was on, but I put him on because he called me in the middle of the stream saying that he couldn't get on. So that's what we did. We went ahead and put him on. What else is going on out there? So a couple of things we were going to talk about here. I want to talk a little bit about this crypto tax bill introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives. This basically is going to, it will amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. And I'm sure Jungle knows all about these codes because, he's a finance dude and he knows all this stuff. So the bill, dubbed the Virtual Value Tax Fix Act of 2019, and that's a great name too because it rolls right off the tip of your tongue, was initially introduced by Representative Ted Budd from North Carolina. Man, I love what's going on with North Carolina. Patrick Henry, we have Ted Budd. I mean, this is amazing, North Carolina. Yeah, I know XRP Carolina's from NC too, man. So I love the state of North Carolina. I'm seeing some great stuff coming out, as far as understanding what's going on with not only regulations, but really in crypto in general. So Ted Budd introduced it on July 25th, referred it to the Committee on Ways and Means. Now, if you know the Committee on Ways and Means, this is the tax writing committee in the House of Representatives in the U.S. here. They're the ones that write the tax code. And another little interesting tidbit about Ways and Means, you can't, if you're on the Ways and Means Committee, you actually cannot participate in other committees unless you have a written note like that says Johnny or Jane can participate in another committee. It has to be by leadership, and they have to put a stamp on it, like one of those ink stamps, and that, yeah, it's a true thing, they can't participate. So it specifically determines no gain or loss shall be recognized on the exchange of real property held for productive use in a trade or business or for investment if such real property is exchanged solely for real property of like kind, which is held either for productive use in a trade or business or for investment. So what does that all mean? It's a lot of gobbledygook, but that's what we get when we get with the government, right? So the bill aims to ensure the exchange of virtual currency for virtual currency of the like kind and treated in the same manner of real property of the like kind. What the heck is that all about? That is insane, right? So in effect, if it becomes law, what it will do, it will basically, and let me sum it all up, it'll basically preclude cryptocurrencies from double taxation under the IRS code, right? So you're not going to get taxed, you can't get double taxed on it. That's basically it. So the Safe Harbor one, Tom Emmer, he reintroduced Safe Harbor for taxpayers with forked assets bill to foster blockchain industry growth in the U.S. So look at this. Really kind of weird, right? We were talking about Garlinghouse really addressing what was going on with Facebook. Now, weirdly enough, Facebook didn't know they were the catalyst for all that. They're like, we got this white paper, we're going to introduce it, and we're coming out with our own. What did it do? Well, what it did was it made the phone ring off the hook for Ripple. What else happened? Well, also, it really started jump-starting. Next thing you know, boom, in July, we get 2 more bills introduced, July and late August, right? We have the the token taxonomy bill, which was introduced in May. So, I mean, is this having some impact out there? It is, right? Are we getting what we want? Do we have regulations? We're not there yet, but I like what's happening and I feel the vibe. You start seeing there's a roll going here, right? Slowly bubbling up to the top, and we're starting to get some stuff that's going on here. And Budd previously testified that a House of Representatives Ways and Means Committee on purported issues with current tax laws on cryptocurrencies in June. So you can start to see there's a little bit of a pattern here as we're rolling this out. And this was another one. I really pulled this article up. It's kind of of the same ilk. There's Ted Budd right there. But I wanted to pull this line out because he joins fellow North Carolina Representative Patrick Henry's enthusiasm for cryptocurrency. And we've talked about Mr. Henry, Congressman Henry on here before because he's all in on crypto, right? He's done some very smart interviews on CNBC. He's given some very good advice on it. And one of the things that I love, he basically, particularly on Bitcoin, he said, I think there's no capacity to kill Bitcoin. He's absolutely right. There is no capacity to kill Bitcoin. His point is you can't kill it, right? And that's something phenomenal because, again, we went from 0 to 60, and now we've got a long distance to travel, right? We're getting there, but in North Carolina, we got some smart people on our side. There we go. What's going on? Back in the chat? What's up in the chat? Yeah, I'm glad RTB's in here. Roy the Badass. What's up, Roy? Good to see you, my man. What else do we have here? Well, this is the bill. This is the gobbledygook bill. It's written like it's just, oh gosh, you can't get through that. I'm glad somebody can. This is too much reading for me. You know, it's just a lot of stuff and laws and dates and amendments and blah blah blah. But anyway, I linked it down below. You can look at it. You can take a peek at it. You can do the same thing I did, scroll through it, and then go back to reading one of the articles because it's just a bunch of crazy stuff. I want to talk about Rhode Island here. So Rhode Island. Now, I don't know, Rhode Island, some of the northeastern states, you know, they're not really quick to jump on this new stuff, but this is pretty cool. Rhode Island will regulate crypto under money transmitter laws. This is a long article, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. In the bill, cryptocurrencies are defined as digital representation of value that's used as a medium of exchange, unit of account, unit store of value is not legal tender, whether or not denominated in legal tender. So this is another article, but what's happening, you're starting to see states, Wyoming was one of the very first to come out with their own regulations, really kind of like taunting the other states, like, come on, join us, come at me, you know, come at me, bro, come at me. And, you know, slowly some states are like, yeah, I don't know, cryptocurrencies, what is it, you know, Bitcoin? Yeah, I know somebody that was into Bitcoin that lost all kinds of money. Right, but what you're starting to see is a little bit of momentum. You got another state jumping in there looking how they're going to do a little bit of regs, right? So I talked a little bit about this in the introduction. So in the introduction, I talked about this. Is gold the new standard? So here's what's up. As you know, the dollar, President Trump threw a tweet out there today, not happy about what's going on with the dollar. You know, you had China devaluing their currency. Why would they do that? Well, if their currency is worth less, then it's a nice way to skirt any sort of these tariffs that are going on. And if they artificially lower it, it creates an unfair business practice. And Trump already hit up the IMF for this very reason. And he's been basically calling them, manipulators for a long time. This is not really the first time it's happened, but look what's happening with gold. Much of the global economy is trying to ditch the dollar and buy gold instead. Right? So they're not happy with what's the performance of the dollar, and they're going in here. But check this out. Look at this stat. In the first half of this year, central banks bought 15.7, nearly $16 billion of gold, the largest increase in 19 recorded years of data, which I think in itself is a little bit odd. They've only been tracking banks buying gold for 19 years, but hey, you know, that's a lot of gold. So does everyone want to ditch the dollar? Yeah. Dollars make up 62% of all central banks' foreign exchange reserves, dwarfing the number 2 euro at 21% and 90% of all foreign trades. So this is interesting when we're talking about gold, right? Been a lot of chatter out there about, you know, is Trump going to go back to a gold standard? Will, you know, the U.S. dollar, the fiat, will this currency be backed by something? They're printing it at will. I think they add more printing presses. We built this. The Federal Reserve has a debt system that we're all got wrapped around. You know, they're like weights you throw on, you know, ankle weights. You throw it and you jump off into the water and you just sink. So this debt system that we built, something's got to give, especially when we look at what's happening in the crisis worldwide. The debt is starting to drown everything. We're all drowning in the debt. Here's another one. Let's pull this puppy up. Central banks want more gold, fewer dollars. So we're starting to see this whole call. And I don't know how Anthony Pomp, you know, we'll call him Pomp. Not that I know him, but Pompliano, he's all in on the Bitcoin, you know, the Bitcoiners. He's a BTC maxi. And, you know, they had this. And then you had Barry Silbert, who's also the BTC guy who launched that, you know, fun commercial where they're, you know, everyone's going crazy and, basically against gold, that Bitcoin was the new gold. But what we're starting to see is a little bit of turn up on gold just because of this. So why does it matter? Gold buy and binge, latest move by China, Russia, and emerging countries like Turkey to decouple themselves with the rest of the global financial system. So you're starting to see this widespread. All these countries are trying to get off the dollar. They're going to gold. They're going to other things. Don't kid yourself for a moment. You know, if there's only a potential ever supply of 21 million Bitcoin, What do you think is going to happen when you figure the governments could potentially own 30, 40, 50%? Now we've reduced that even further. What is Bitcoin? What's going to happen to Bitcoin, right? It's going to be valuable, right? 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. Why? Because it's limited. It's scarce. You know, you can't print more like you can with fiat currency, like with the dollar. You just can't print that. It's 21 million. Now, what I'm hearing too is I've read a number of different sources. Nobody really knows the real answer. But you know, early days when it was like 0.0006, or you could buy a pizza at the equivalent would be $80 million today. What ended up happening? Well, what ended up happening was people are like, yeah, hard drive, I don't need this anymore. 2 years later, Bitcoin goes to 80, and they're like, ah! Freaking out because they don't know what happened to the drive, and they potentially just threw away, hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands, $20. I don't know, whatever it was. So they guesstimate, and it's only a guesstimate at this point, the $3 to $4 million or 3 to 4 million Bitcoin could potentially be lost forever. Let's suppose it's on the smaller side, 2.5 to 3 million. Well, that takes the supply down now under 20, right? 17, 18, 19 million. Let's go on. What are we talking about here? GXRP, so good to see you. Pompliano is a hardcore BTC supporter, G. Yeah, he certainly is. Who else? What Bubba is reading through comments here. Carl, sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real. No, it's a different song. Let's see what do we got. Who monitors their phone recordings is gonna love me. Says Bubba, right? So Bubba's probably talking about something else in there. So I saw this little article here. JPMorgan Chase. It's like everyone likes to hate on them, but I saw this. I write copy. JPMorgan Chase partners with an ad writing machine, literally. Okay. So this is what they signed a 5-year deal with Persado, a startup that uses AI to write creative ad copy. And somebody else has a startup that can recognize AI generated copy. So, it runs really the gamut. So here's the human version. Access cash from the equity in your home. The robot version. It's true. You can unlock cash from the equity in your home. So it rewrote copy and headlines and marketers, and according to Persado, its AI tools led to a 450% increase in clicks. Well, yeah, it's writing clickbait copy, so yeah, one is like, yeah, access it from your home. The other one's, yeah, it's true, you can do this, and you want to click on it. So it's kind of like writing, and basically what the author is surmising here, does this spell a downsizing for JPMorgan Chase? When asked about its current human marketing creatives, they said it hadn't had an impact on its team structure. Well, yeah, not yet. But, it is signed up with this AI stuff, and it starts writing all the copy. It's probably going to write everything else for it. Maybe even speak for the CEO. Who knows? But this is pretty prevalent now. A lot of the stuff you see out there is rewritten by AI, taking stuff, making it different enough so it's not duplicate and gets clicks out there. So it's out there. I will say that. That's for sure. So here's another good article. I'm not going to really get into the heart of this. Blockchain marks the next step in the internet's evolution. This is a really good article. Irving Wisłowski-Berger wrote this one. It's good. I sometimes link to articles that I find fascinating, but we're not going to go through the whole thing. Too messy, too much stuff. But it does highlight really why blockchain for business and why everything's moving to the blockchain. It makes some very good points here. It's linked down below, and you can read that and tell me all about it. You can tell me what you think. Look how long this thing is, but it's a good one. It's a nice one. Again, we're not going to get into that. But anyway, I linked it down below. What else are we looking at here? So look at this, guys. This is incredible, right? Can you believe this? Uber lost more than $5 billion last quarter. No. Not last year. Not over the last 5 years. Last quarter, right? $5 billion. How do you lose $5 billion? What kind of effort do you have to put in, seriously, to lose $5 billion with a B? That's insane. 5.2. I was wrong. 5.2 billion. 5.2 billion. Net losses represents the company's largest ever quarterly loss. And what have we been hearing? Oh, the ride sharing, it's growing, it's the future. Well, I'm just wondering, I know Amazon really was in the red for many, many years, but they were building market share, they were building infrastructure, and now they're a behemoth, right? I don't know, where does the ride sharing go from here? But when I saw this, does this have anything to do with cryptocurrency? No. Blockchain, no. But it has to do with business, right? Because at what what length can you continue to do business when you're losing $5 billion in a quarter? What's next quarter? $6 billion? I mean, obviously they keep dumping money into it, and a lot of this is, on paper. Some of it was money they didn't make. But anyway, this one killed me. I had to put it in here because it's just bizarro to me. I mean, sincerely, George, what's up? Yeah, they've never been profitable. I don't think they ever have been profitable. But, if you look at, that's a good point, SG, sincerely, George. It's true they may not have ever been profitable. But just let's look at this, right? They've never been profitable. And how long have they been around? I think it's probably closer to 10 years, right? There's been a lot of upstarts, and different countries have their own version of this. But still, I mean, I just, $5 billion. If you think about $5 billion, if there was that landmark fine that was just laid down, I think it was the SEC that just fined, or it might have been the FTC, fined Facebook $5 billion. You're like, whoa, $5 billion. Well, think about it. 2.6 billion users. And if they were, and that money goes to the government, you're not getting the money back. It's like, oh, they ripped off your privacy. Hey, great. But let's suppose, what would that equate to? Okay, every user on Facebook gets $2. You'd be like, so what, right? I mean, that's when you break it down in the numbers. If it was going back to people, and if Facebook got fined $5 billion, they lost $5 billion. Okay, so this is kind of an incredible thing. Let's look at this here. So I talked a little bit about privacy before. We were going about privacy, and guess what? So I have a lot of friends that are like, oh man, I don't use Facebook. Facebook's for like old people, man. And well, I'm not a Facebook guy either. Once in a while I go on there to see how my parents are doing because they're both into Facebook. It skews to an older crowd. But here's the funny thing. I'm like, are you on Instagram? They're like, oh yeah, Instagram's way better. Well, guess who owns Instagram? Hello. Are you on WhatsApp? Just got the call 3 seconds ago from Anthony Jackson, who was live, right? AJ was live here, and guess what? He called on WhatsApp. Who owns WhatsApp? Facebook. Right? So they're like, oh no, I'm not on Facebook. You are. You're on Facebook. And what's happening too, I saw another article today that Instagram is starting to eat market share and a lot of the money because the way Facebook changed the way they advertise on the platform, a lot of the businesses and the fact they took away a lot of the traffic is starting to move their ad dollars on Instagram. So in a way, it's kind of cannibalizing Facebook, right? And ad revenue starting to go down, but again, they brought it upon themselves because they made some pretty significant changes that affected traffic, and a lot of people and a lot of companies invested a lot of money into building channels that just basically got the wind sucked out of them, right, when they went away. So they have to figure out other ways to, basically make money here. But Instagram ad partners secretly sucked up and tracked millions of users' locations and stories. Now, who in the chat is surprised? Are you surprised about this? I'm not surprised, right? But we see this all the time. Now, Facebook gets the bad rap for not being trusted, and then more and more of these articles we saw, supposedly, the so-called app called WhatsApp, right? Supposedly it's supposed to be encrypted. Well, how is it encrypted if they can now track it? So I did an article, I believe, last week. So you have it coming out, bad news for WhatsApp, bad news for Instagram, privacy issues, trust issue. Garlinghouse hits it right on the head. It's trust. You have to have some trust, right? You have to trust that if you send a payment, it's going to get there. And I always say this all the time. You're going to have friends that are going to use this app. Hey, check out this app. It's real time, They 2-3 years from now, I'll be like, look at this, check this out. And they'll show it to you and be like, look, I can send you a payment and you get it in like 2 seconds. Isn't that awesome? You're like, yeah, it runs XRP. Now, they don't know what XRP is, and who cares if they know? Nobody knows and cares. The point is it's going to be working hard behind the scenes. What's up? So Rain says, do not use any of Facebook's stuff, period, folks. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, that's good. I mean, I still do because people communicate with it. But yeah, I mean, that's good, Rain, that you're not on there. But you are on Skype, man. So Skype's Microsoft. Microsoft used to get a bad rap. They've sort of cleaned up their act. I have to say, it's been pretty good, This is another phenomenal article. Again, really detailed. Way too much for this stream. But again, I link it down below. If you look below, not now, guys. You don't have to look about there and below. But if you look below, this is a good one. Terrifying, well, I went a little crazy with the headline, but terrifying global currency crisis explained in 19 tweets. Why Bitcoin matters. But I'll go a step further. Why cryptocurrencies? They're making a big, bold statement for Bitcoin, and rightfully so. But I think if you go through this, They talk about, let me go down here. There was one thing I wanted to read, and who knows where it is now. Yeah, gold is rightly doing its job, sniffing out big problem, and it's exploding higher, outperforming even the super strong dollar as gold begins to price in an end game of eventual massive readjustment of the dollar in 12 months, 18 months, gold, right? So here we go again. We're talking about gold, and then we're talking about cryptocurrencies. So again, this is really well done. This string of tweets basically by Rhode. It's a very good one. Again, link down below. We're not going to get into it. Let's get into fun stuff. Check this out, right? So it's funny because, you know, my 15-year-old daughter now, she's like discovered Friends. She's like laughing at it. I'm kind of shocked, right? Because you know how goofy it was? They put those laugh tracks in there. I don't know if you guys ever watched Friends, but I remember when it was on. Yeah, I'd sit back and, you know, Ross, Rachel, and all this kind of fun stuff, right? Ross and Rachel would come to Lego Forum and new 1,000-piece, right? Friends Central Perk set, right? And I'm thinking, you know, Lego, it's a little bit late. I think that show ended up in like around 99 or 2000, basically about 18, 20 years ago. But it is pretty cool. You know, there's the guitar Phoebe used to play when she used to do her Smelly Cat song, which was awesome. But anyway, I looked at this and I was just kind of shocked. But I guess it's made a resurgence. You know, weird thing, kids are watching this and they're laughing about it, like the jokes and everything. You know, I didn't know how they would land, but I didn't think they were that funny, you know. Anyway, it's pretty cool, right? It's well done. Let's look at some of these other pictures. Here's another shot of it. But, you know, from the menu, Central Perk, it's got it down pretty good. I mean, they did a pretty nice job on it. It's still Lego. There's Phoebe outside singing her Smelly Cat song right there. Yeah, it's cool, right? Anyway, this has absolutely nothing to do with the blockchain. This is, you know, Crypto Eddie has her fluff. This is just my fun stuff. I throw the fun stuff in here because it's fun, you know? Anyway, there's like just silly, goofy things that I find on the internet. They're all kinds of weirdness and goofy stuff, you know. Yeah, it's all kinds of fun. Sincerely, George, what is she saying? What is she saying? Need your number. There's going to be a lot of time. XRP is way above 0.30. Yeah, that's right. What else? Ellen's brother, maybe. Not sure what that's all about. Did you see the dinosaur go by? Whoa, dinosaur. Hey, now. So anyway, this is like just sort of like one of these little fun little deals. And, you know, every once in a while when Game of Thrones was on, I was like, hey, let's have a Game of Thrones update. Boy, I am parched. Yeah, parched, Bubba. I don't know why. I'm just like dehydrated or something, you know. Well, I do live in Florida, and it is like 98 degrees outside with like 79% humidity. But, hey, Matt LaRoche, what's up? Good for you to pop in here. What's going on? So here we are. We're talking about really important stuff, Matt. You might have missed it. We're talking about this brand new Central Perk, amazing set that came off from Lego, about the Friends, you know, that set they used to have, and, you know, they sit on the couch and talk about randomness, and there's, you know, all that. And there's that goofy guy behind the counter. You know, I don't remember his name was. Goofy guy right now. I don't know. Anyway, has nothing to do with it. But Game of Thrones, I like to talk about Games of Thrones. This is a pretty interesting development. Netflix signs a $200 million deal with the Game of Thrones showrunners, David Benioff and Dan Weiss. You probably know as showrunners for that little HBO series called Game of Thrones. They're moving to a new home, according to the Hollywood Reporter. They signed a $200 million multi-year film and TV deal with Netflix. So this is this is a really good get, but it's a lot of money. Netflix has been just crazy spending money. Had a beautiful run at HBO for more than a decade. Grateful for everyone there. But too bad. What he's really saying here is HBO, you didn't pony up the money, man. You know, listen, we go to the highest bidder, but they say nice things on the way out, you know. Blah, blah. So, yeah, so they're going to be developing something. They are writing and producing Star Wars trilogy right now for Lucasfilm. First series already scheduled for 2022. So I think it's going to be a little bit of time, but I think they just locked them up, you know, based on that success. So they put something else probably cool together. Maybe, I don't know, it could be a fantasy thing, could be a space thing. Who knows what it's going to be, really? Nobody knows. I don't know. Sincerely, George is bringing up an important topic, and that's Yeti Coin. Yeti Coin and OTC. Who's down with OTC? The OTC, I got a video coming out on OTC. OTC. And Yeti Coin. Yeah, Yeti Coin in the works. You know, not ready for prime time yet, but in the works. And let's see, what else do we have here? Is there one other thing here? Did I have another thing here? I believe I had something. Okay, guys, so here's another thing that has absolutely nothing to do with crypto and or blockchain, but this bottle of vodka was made from grain grown inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone, and it's appropriately titled Atomic, right? And it looks like some kind of a deformed, weird running sort of a boar here. It looks like he's heading into some sort of like a field that's radioactive or something. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's going to drink this. I guess it's fun. But basically, grains and water from Chernobyl, dreaded exclusion zone, have been used to produce a single bottle of vodka called Atomic. The vodka could revolutionize the way land is reclaimed. Yeah, I heard it takes 100 years, and I think we're not even close to that yet. But anyway, I think it's more of a fun thing. I don't think anybody really drinks this. It's an artisan one, so there you go. This is this is reclaimed area. So stuff's growing there. The animals are living there. Reportedly, there's some guy that lives very, very close there, and I guess, he doesn't glow or anything, but it's only been 30 years. I guess it takes a full 100 for stuff to kind of work its way out, but there still is some heavy radiation coming from there. Anyway, that doesn't, so here we go. Remember the team, they're planting grain seeds in 2017, kind of a fun little thing. I don't know. I don't know who's going to have that personally. I mean, I'm not sure who's going to really enjoy that. I guess it's good. I mean, maybe you guys will. 24,000 year half-life. Yeah, there you go. Yeti's down for OTC. Right on, SG. Right on. Yeah, you almost got a Yeti beer. Yeah, it was funny because Jeff sent me a screenshot of a Yeti beer, and I was like, this is pretty cool, man. Sent me the screenshot, and it was funny because I scanned it, and the first thing that popped out was that Yeti beer. And I don't even know what it looks like. Maybe it was just, maybe it was on a tap. I don't really know if it was on tap or whatever. But anyway, you were at some cool beer establishment, sent me off a picture, started getting thirsty, started thinking about drinking beer, and that would have been a nice little fun thing to do. RTB said he loved Chernobyl. Roy, have you been to Chernobyl? I remember early on, in the 90s, there was this motorcycle girl. She used to ride in there with her Geiger counter, and or whatever it is, the one that Geiger counter is for earthquakes. The one that measures radiation, she used to go in. And I was like, this is the 90s when she was putting videos up. It might have been pre-YouTube, but she had a web page, and she was riding into the zone. It was all underground. I don't know if she's still out there, but those were fun videos. I don't know what happened to her, but it was pretty high radiation. She didn't wear any kind of protection, but she went in there. She didn't stay long, but still, yeah. So it was on tap. Yeah, okay, on tap. But I mean, I wonder if they had a cute little Yeti, a little Yeti, sort of like a figurine, or it's just called the Yeti, whatever. I have to look more into that. But there's all kinds of Yeti everyone knows the big Yeti, the big, silvery, whatever, giant Yeti containers, which have nothing to do with Yeti, so to speak. But they pretty much are well known for products anyway. And anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about tomorrow night. In this same chair, well, not this chair, but in this same spot, we have Auburn Rain, who's in the chat. If you're not following him, please click on those three dots next to his name, pop over to his channel, follow him, hit the subscribe and the bell. Bell will sometimes, maybe, could, might, would, should. Sometimes you get the notification. Even when I know someone's going live, like tomorrow night, it's Rain's going live, and I'm like, what happened? And the next thing you know, I'm in there 8 minutes later. So sometimes that's bound to happen too. So, all kinds of weirdness have happened with this. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but I see more and more YouTubers talking about it. And I'm not just talking about the cryptocurrency ones, because I listen to all kinds of different YouTubers. You got to be careful what you like, because all of a sudden you like some weird thing, and you get more weirdness, right? More along the lines of those weird things. So, and it was funny because I had a colleague, and I said, we were talking about YouTubers, and he was like, YouTubers he liked, and I was like, yeah, I do a little YouTube. This is when I first started YouTube show. He goes, really, what is it? And he goes in there like, hey, can you sub the channel? He goes, oh no, man, I can't do that. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, if I sub your channel, I'm gonna get blown away with all kinds of cryptocurrency stuff. And I like crypto, but I don't want all these crypto. I'm like, can you like it? He goes, oh no, you gotta be careful on the likes. Oh, real paranoid about it. I'm like, all right, man, chill. It's cool. You don't have to sub it, man. I was like, he got all like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, it's all right, man. I'll be okay with one less sub. I just thought, colleague to colleague, you might just want to sub it. Check it out. Do me a solid. Toss me a like, maybe. But he couldn't do it because it would have messed up his whole flow. And I'm cool with that. You don't have to have everything perfect every single time, right? So, what do I say? Here's what I say. When you come back, I posted some articles down there. You can check them out down there. You're watching the replay. Let me know what you think of the stream. What article did you like? What would you like to see more of? Do you not like the stuff we do at the end? I mean, do you hate Friends? Do you like Friends? I don't know. You need to let me know below. Before you get out of here, hit that thumbs up, that big old like, if it's your first time, and I'm not saying it is. Also hit that subscribe button, and do it now. Hit the bell. Like I said, you might get notified sometime, but hey, at least you hit it. You might get notified. That's my take. What's yours? Chip